Welcome. Scott here. Today I am bringing you another Black Clover mobile video. In this video, I will be covering on the upcoming festival Mage, Mereoleona. In general, Mereoleona is a sense attribute type defender mage. Her key roles involve the following. She is a top tier PvP unit when you get her fully maxed out. She provide damage mitigation with her mana skin. To have her mana skin to be apply on the party with her skill 2, you need to have her skill page. Mana skin will result the mage to receive 30% less damage and gain immunity to status ailments like freeze or stun. She can taunt for 2 turns with her skill 1. Her skill 2 and special will dispel barrier before she attacks. At maxed enhancements, she will trigger burn continuous damage counters to all enemies whenever she was attacked by an enemy. Burn continuous damage scales off the total of her total attack stats. In general, Mereoleona fits well in burn or mono green team comps. With her passives, she provides support for the party and boosts her own survivability. Her LR passive allows her to gain mana skin whenever her skill points are capped at 8. You will see her burning with fire when that happens. At LR+2, she will trigger taunt to the unit with the highest all attack for 1 turn at the start of the wave. At LR+5, on top of the taunt mechanic, she will inflict continuous burn damage on all enemy targets whenever she received damage from an enemy. Similar to past festival units like Julius and Black Asta, investing in Mereoleona offers the great value for your roster. To function at her maxed efficiency, Mereoleona needs to have her skill page and maxed enhancement levels for her burn counters. Her skill page allows her to provide mana skin for all party and improves her damage as long as her mana skin is active. Being able to consistently apply burn continuous damage plays a crucial part in helping Mereoleona to unlock her other utility like taunt on her skill 1 and more damage when she uses her special. If you want to use her in PvP, she can work in mono green team comps or a burn oriented team comp. However, in PvP, it always benefit the first turn basis, so it is better to have her at LR+5 for the taunt lock along with the burn continuous damage counter. If you get her to LR+5, she will be able to work in team comps even without other burn units. Without her LR+5 passive, Mereoleona cannot apply burn continuous damage except using her combined attack. For skill pages, you will want her skill page for the mana skin application for the party. Without it, she will just become an average taunt defender mage and lost her damage potential. Although she is a defender mage, her optimal gear sets are primarily advanced attack. Critical rate and critical damage should be your primarily focus when building her gear. As she always applying taunt on targets and relies on burn counters of her off-turn damage, you probably will want the advanced defense and speed set on her if you don't have good transcended gears on her. So should I pull for her? In my opinion, there isn't a general consensus on whether to pull for a unit. It really depends on whether you are a free-to-play or having a vast roster already. If your roster is lacking an offensive defender mage like Black Asta, I would highly recommend you to get her. In general, defender mage who can great damage while fulfilling their defender roles are ultra rare in the game. Now let me discuss a bit on the general setups involving her. In PvE setups, she fits well in a mono green team comp or pair her with burn units to bring your enemies to her campfire. Burn is important for her because it enables the additional utility that her skills bring. Without burn continuous damage, she won't be able to taunt with her skill 1 or getting increased damage dealt buff when she unleash her special. Generally, you will want to have Mereoleona at LR+5 and her skill page minimally. Until she gets her LR+5 enhancements, please do take note that she will operate as a standard defender mage. If you are unable to get Mereoleona to max enhancements or LR+5, the best way to utilize her is to use a burn-oriented team comp. But Mereoleona damage potential along with her utility will fall greatly without that. Burn debuff scales off her attack and magic attack stats, which explains the reason why attack gear pieces are the recommended gear pieces for her. She is tough to beat, so you can expect constant trigger of her burn counters when she is attacked. If you are unable to get her skill page, she will lose the utility that allows her to apply her awesome mana skin buff for the party, and she becomes an isolated taunt type defender mage. Her damage potential will also lose greatly. Her skill page offers great enhancement value and requires more dupes so she can unlock her true offensive potential. We are about less than a week before her arrival, so start to grind resources such talent seeds, will shards for skills upgrade, and focus on start building her gear. Now let me go through her kit. In general, Mereoleona is an offensive defender mage, and she hits harder as long as you maintain her mana skin and upkeep the burn continuous damage on the enemies. Before I proceed to talk about her kit, let me briefly explain the fundamentals of building a good team comp. In general, every good team comp needs a balanced set of characters playing their various roles. To be honest, bringing a full team of attacker mages won't get you to clear endgame content. Since Mereoleona will be your primarily defender, you need to bring supporter, healers, debuffers, or an additional attackers to complement her. Against single target bosses, she can just lock targets with her taunt utility while the rest of the party focus on annihilating the enemies. Being an offensive defender mage, skills upgrade is very important. Even at level 2, you can see exponential increase in the skill damage potencies. To upgrade the skills, you need to use will shards. Will shards can be bought at the world regional shops monthly. If you upgrade your world reputation to level 2, you will unlock the option to buy the highest tier upgrade material. If you haven't done so, I will suggest you to start leveling up the reputation level by doing bond patrol or memory hall fights for that specific world. You can also get skills upgrade materials at your squad shop if you have joined a squad. You can buy them weekly with guild medals or monthly with guild raid coins. So try to level up and join a guild. If you have spending power, you can buy skills enhancement chests at the premium Black Crystal shop. Now let me go through her skill set. Her skill 1 Kalido's Iron Fist is a single target HP attack and allows her to apply 2-turn taunt if the target has been afflicted with the burn continuous damage. If you have her LR plus 5, you shouldn't have any difficulty to trigger her taunt lock. Her skill 2 Kalido's Brachium Barrage is an AoE attack ability that allows her to remove barrier on the target. If you have her skill page, the ability grant her mana skin to all allies for 2 turns. Do take note that mana skin won't apply if she has active mana skin trigger from her LR passive. Normally, players will have use her special first before have her use her skill 2 to reapply mana skin. Because of this rotation, there is a small window where Mereoleona will be exposed to an attack. If you foresee the enemy is going to unleash a devastating attack, it is probably your best option to use the skill to provide party-wide damage mitigation. Her special Kalido's Brachium is a single target hard-hitting ability. The skill damage will deal more damage based on the number of burn continuous damage on the target. If burn continuous damage is active on the target, Mereoleona will gain a 65% increased damage dealt buff before she unleashes her attack. This special attack will also remove any active barrier first. If Mereoleona kills the target, she will gain an extra turn. Her combined attack is an AoE ability with Mereoleona apply burn continuous damage for 2 turns to all targets. Most of the time, you won't be using Mereoleona for the combined attack, but you will be using it through her partner Mage. Ceremony Charlotte with LR plus 2 and a maxed enhancement William are great partner mages to abuse the combined attack. Her burn continuous damage scales off 20% of her magic attack and 20% of her attack stats at the start of Mereoleona's turn. You can stack 3 burn continuous damage with this ability. Generally, her rotation is pretty simple. Start off with skill 2 to apply her mana skin for the party. Hold her skill points if you foresee a big attack is coming. Have her taunt lock the highest threat opposition mage with her skill 1 so your other members can focus on their tasks. A fully maxed enhanced Mereoleona with her skill page will be your arena mainstay for a foreseeable future. If you have will shards available, I would highly recommend to max out all her skills enhancements. So do make an effort to invest and upgrade her skills' damage potencies and you will reap the benefit a lot. Now let's cover on her skill page. Similar to most festival mages, the skill page is ultra important for Mereoleona. Her skill page will upgrade her skill 2 to apply mana skin for the party. Please do note that mana skin won't be applied if mana skin obtained from unique passive is active on her. The skill page also enhance her offensive capability. Whenever mana skin is active on Mereoleona, she has a 55% chance of gaining 50% increased damage dealt buff before she attacks. At max enhancement, you will have a guaranteed chance of activating the increased damage buff and the potencies will improve from 50% to 70% as well. Unless you are targeting the upper leagues and have big spending power, I won't recommend you to chase too hard for the skill page dupes. You can end up hurting your resources to pull for the upcoming units. If the following month's banner follow the JP and KR timeline, we are having good units in the next month and those units complement well with Mereoleona in team comps. For skill page replacement, you can use Breath of Darkness skill page to improve Mereoleona offensive ability and treat her as a single target offensive taunt tank. I would suggest you to use the skill page only for PvE fights. If you are unfortunate and didn't get her skill page, giving her defensive skill page like Moonlight Necklace or SR Asta skill page will help to improve her survivability. You might probably want to switch her gear to defense setup instead. Generally, if you miss out her skill page, I won't recommend you to invest versatile mage pieces to bring her to LR +5. Doing this won't be best utilization of your resources. I would suggest you to use it on other mages instead. Now let's cover on her talents. To understand what is the best talent settings, you need to know what is the mage's primary role. Mereoleona is a defender taunt tank with burn continuous damage that scales of her magic attack and attack stats. For her attack talent wheel, I would suggest giving her increased battle frenzy and increased magic attack. Increased magic attack will increase her magic attack stats by 7%. For the other talent, battle frenzy will be the better option since it allows her to gain 2.5% increased critical rate buff that could stack up to 5 times. For the talent craved stone, I would suggest you give her the attack talent stone to enhance her off-turn burn damage. For the defense talent wheel, I recommend you to go for the endurance defensive talent, which gives her 4% defense and 2% critical resistance, up to 5 times per wave along with increased defense that boost her defense by 20%. For the craved stone, you will want to give her the defense talent craved stone. In the support talent wheel, you will have a wide variety of options like one shown on the screen. Increased damage resistance will result Mereoleona to improve her damage resistance by 10%. Mereoleona will most probably taunt lock targets to her. Mage Blessing allows her to have a 20% chance of cool down her skill 2 which could allow her to apply her skill 2. This will help a lot in ensure mana skin is always active on your party. I myself will probably pair this with Mage Blessing so she can apply her mana skin more frequently. You can also opt to use increased accuracy and penetration to enhance her damage potencies. Penetration stats is good for handling enemies with high defenses. Whenever your mage attacks, a certain portion of the target's defense is ignored when damage is dealt based on the character's penetration stat. On the other hand, accuracy will helps to boost Mereoleona's survivability as it allows her to have higher chance of damage reduction activation. Resolution is an arena-specific passive or when you are fighting a debuffer type PvE boss. With this passive, the mage will gain debuff immunity for a turn upon resisting damage successfully. Mana skin will reduce damage received by 30% along with status ailment immunity. With her skill page, Mereoleona will be able to apply her mana skin for the party. In doing this, you can negate debuffer mages in arena. For craved stone, you can choose either critical resistance or life talent stone to boost her HP pool. You can also give Mereoleona a speed stone so she can move a bit faster to apply her mana skin. Since you probably will rotate the talents based on the content that you are tackling and she will be your arena mainstay for a foreseeable future, maxing out her talent wheels will be greatly beneficial. Now let's focus on her gear sets. Generally, you want to target for advanced gear sets pieces. Despite she being a defender mage, the general consensus is to give Mereoleona magic attack pieces. Although it really doesn't matter whether you give her attack or magic attack since her burn mechanics scales off 20% of both attack and magic attack stats. The Omnius gear set is the most important gear sets that you want to equip on Mereoleona since it will boost both her magic attack and attack stats by 7%. Depend on the content you are targeting, you can give her advanced speed set so she moves faster for her to set up her mana skin for the party. Being able to constantly apply her mana skin will aids a lot in helping your party survivability. The last gear set pieces can be either boosting her critical rate, critical damage, advanced defense set. Critical rate gear will be advisable if you manage to her skill page to a 3-star or more since Mereoleona can be an efficient defender nuker mage. If your skill page isn't fully upgraded, you might want to opt for advanced defense gear to support her survivability. If you don't have damage mitigation good barrier support, the advanced defense set will be better option to boost her survivability. But do make an effort to enchant a lot to boost the gear's critical rate and critical damage. You can refer to the gear set shown on rightmost on the screen. If you can buy enchantment stones with black premium crystals, the substats priority is attack percent, magic attack percent, critical rate percent and critical damage percent. If you are free to play player, I will suggest you to focus on critical rate and critical damage first followed by attack stats. Generally, you boost your attack over time by transcending attacking gear pieces. The above gear recommendations is only applicable if you are able to get Mereoleona to LR+5 or max enhancements. If you are unable to get Mereoleona to LR+5 immediately, you might want to swap out some of the attack gear pieces for defense gear pieces instead to boost her survivability as priority. If you miss out her skill page, a full defense gear piece will be recommended since she will just function as a taunt tank.
I am Vermillion Vermillion, captain of the mighty Crimson Lion Kings. I am not a campfire. Behold, I am Vermillion Vermillion of the Crimson Lion Kings.
With the introduction of Mereoleona, burn meta will be on full swing. With her max enhancements, Mereoleona can constantly apply AoE burn continuous damage whenever she is attacked. This will almost guarantee burn continuous damage are always present on all targets unless the opposition has means to remove continuous damage. With burn constantly applied, units whose damage scales off burn mechanics will rise to prominence. Clover Academy Vermillion will become meta for arena team if you have heavy investment on his skill page. Actually, the meta lies behind is the skill page and not unit himself. The skill page will enable any attacker mage to do more damage based on the number of burn instants present on the target. Clover Academy Vermillion skill page will give the attacker mage a chance to gain increased damage depending on the number of burn continuous damage active on the target upon attacking. Maxing out that skill page will give you a guaranteed chance of dealing 25% increased damage per burn continuous damage on the enemy. Other than Vermillion, you can replace him with Ceremony Magna, Party Costume Charmy and Hateful Fauna. Even no burn-based attacker mages like Licht also works. Supporter mages like William and Ceremony Charlotte will play an essential party in making the team comp work for setup and barrier support. With the introduction of Mereoleona, mono-green team comps in PvP will also rise to prominence. Useful mono-green mages include the following. When using a mono-green team comp, Ceremony Charlotte will grant barrier to all mages that scales off 80% of her HP at the start of the turn. If you have Ceremony Charlotte at LR+2, she can give barrier to the mage with highest attack. When using a mono green team comp, Hateful Fauna will grant the party status ailment immunity at the start of the battle. Rill and Swimsuit Vanessa will also see extended uses for their gimmicks and utility. Rill can debuffs enemies, lowers defenses, and dispel opposition buffs, deals more damage to defender mages with his LR+2 passive. Swimsuit Vanessa can allow the lowest speed mage from being targeted. However, for that strategy to work, you need to give Vanessa a full advanced speed gear set along with max talent support will so you can engrave speed +2 craved stone on her. Remember, I have mentioned earlier not to chase too hard for Mereoleona's skill page dupes when you are pulling on the banner. This is because we will be getting 2 more awesome sense attribute type mages that will be arriving in the near future. In the upcoming season, we should be getting Party Mimosa, who will grant the unit with the highest attack invulnerability buff at the start of the wave. Invulnerability will allows the mage to be immune to damage. At LR+2, Party Mimosa will give SP +1 buff for every turn she takes. Pairing with Ceremony Charlotte, you can always ensure Mereoleona's skill points will get filled up in a jiffy. Party Mimosa is also a top tier healer mage with resurrection mechanics. After the seasonal banner, 2 story mages will be joining the fold. Unless the developers make changes to the banner rotations, one of them should be the highly rated Dizitni Vanessa. When you are bring a green mono party, Vanessa will grant defender mages Red Thread of Fate. Red Thread of Fate is a buff that grants immortality for a 1 turn if the mage's HP is equal or lower than 30%. With her LR+2 passive, she can also boost Mereoleona's mobility whenever she takes a turn. In short, more Mereoleona turns means more Mereoleona attacks. If you are running low on resources, so who to choose if you can only go for Julius or Mereoleona. Generally, both mages are very good and perform exceptionally well for their role. Julius is a top tier PvE unit while Mereoleona is a top tier PvP unit. However, there are some important factors to consider before you make your decision. Both mages need their skill pages for their kit full functionality. Investment-wise, Julius offers a cheaper option against Mereoleona since he functions well as long as a base copy and his skill page. His resurrection mechanic is good for endgame PvE content and current PvP meta. However, as future PvP specialist units like Mereoleona, Zara, or Destiny Vanessa arrives, Julius' uses in arena will diminish over time. Mereoleona will totally negate Julius. Her LR passive will always taunt the units with highest attack stats to her. Julius will be usually locked to her unless you give someone with high attack or magic stats gear. She always get her mana skin activated as long as she has her maxed SP gauge. Her mana skin provide 30% damage mitigation along with status ailments immunity. Mereoleona also have an attribute type advantage against Julius. If Mereoleona has max enhancements, attacking her will trigger burn counters. With her skill page, Mereoleona also applies mana skin to the entire party. If the entire party has the resolution support talent passive, they will gain debuff immunity which hamper Julius' mobility drain mechanics. Comparing against Julius, Mereoleona has higher damage potential ceiling in PvP but at high investment cost. Without her LR+5 or max enhancements, she won't trigger her burn counters. She also need to refrain from using her special as long as Julius is alive because once mana skin goes off, she will be an open target for Julius or Black Asta to kill. Thus, you will need to invest in her skill page and giving her good gear sets to boost her survivability. The higher the enhancement levels that her skill page has, the higher the chance that she will give herself with an awesome and additional increased Mage dealt buff to nuke the opposition's strongest threats with her special. Personally, if I am choosing between the two, it is a toss-up. If you have cleared all PvE content so far without Julius, it means your roster is strong enough already to take a skip on Julius. So you can focus on Mereoleona. If you are struggling to clear endgame PvE content, Julius will be a better option. If you cannot clear those endgame PvE content, you won't have resources to upgrade your mages and getting those valuable upgrade materials like enchantment stones, accessory chest, versatile mage piece, versatile skill page enhancement materials, etc. Without those materials, your mages won't get stronger over time.